Hi, Mark Donovan here, and I got some exciting news to talk about in regards to flight training for New Hampshire high school students. Recently, last month, as a matter of fact, the New Hampshire Department of Education approved as part of its Learn Everywhere programs flight training for high school students where they can actually earn high school credit towards their graduation for obtaining their private pilot's certificate and or their instrument rating. In addition to that, they specifically approved for the first flight school in the state of New Hampshire, Laconia Flight Academy. I actually work at Laconia Flight Academy, and Laconia Flight Academy, as part of this approval process, is authorized by the New Hampshire Department of Education to issue credit toward high school graduation that all public high schools in the state of New Hampshire have to accept. And so a little bit more basically how this program works. A high school student that's of eligible age, and we'll get into that in a little bit later, enrolls into our flight school or a flight school that's also approved by the New Hampshire Department of Education as part of this program to proceed forward with their flight training in regards to basically two parts or two phases. The phases can run in parallel. The first part is completing an online ground school or in-person ground school private pilot course, and upon completion of that, passing an FAA written private pilot knowledge test. Upon completion of that test, the flight school, and in particular right now just Laconia Flight Academy, because it's the only school in the state that's approved for it at the moment, can issue a half a credit towards a high school graduation, again, that public high schools in the state of New Hampshire have to accept. Moreover, if the student continues forward and receives their private pilot certificate, we can also offer an additional half credit toward actually obtaining the license. And similarly, on the instrument side, if a student decides to move forward and get their instrument rating upon completion of an instrument ground school course and taking the written FAA instrument test and passing that, the flight school can provide an additional half credit toward high school graduation for that completion task. And lastly, after the student actually gets their instrument rating, an additional half credit can be provided for their high school graduation. So in total, up to 2 credits, elective credits toward high school graduation can be provided under this program, approved and authorized by the state of New Hampshire's Department of Education. So we're very excited at Laconia Flight Academy for this. We're the first in the state that's been approved for this program. And if you want to learn more about it, contact laconiaflightacademy.com. I'll leave a link in the description area below for more information on that program and for you to basically go give them a call and learn more about what's involved in the program. One thing I want to mention a little bit about the process in getting a private pilot's license. So in addition to the ground school course and all the flight training, and the flight training involves a minimum of 40 hours of flight time, and typically we see 55 to 65 and even more hours required for a student to be skilled enough to be ready for what we call an FAA check ride. And so those are kind of the requisite tasks that have to be done in terms of hours of flight time and ground school work. But then as it comes in regards to the actual testing activities, again, there's the written pilot test that has to be completed for the private pilot. And then ultimately it leads to when the student's ready for what we call the check ride, they meet with an FAA designated pilot examiner, and the FAA conducts an oral exam for anywhere from an hour to hour and a half. And if that goes well, the student then jumps in a plane with the examiner and spends another hour to hour and a half with the examiner performing a whole series of flight maneuvers that they've been training for the past many months. And if that goes well, the student is issued a pilot certificate on the spot by the designated pilot examiner. And again, it's at that point in time that an additional half credit can be issued from the flight school, Laconia Flight Academy in this case, toward the high school graduation. So I'm going to go over some frequently asked questions that we're anticipating that I'm actually already seeing. The first one is how old do you have to be to participate in this program? We're setting the age to 15 years for a multitude of reasons. Number one, the FAA requires a student pilot to be 15 years old to take the written FAA test. And that's really the the passing grade on that test is what enables us to provide the half credit toward the high school graduation for the first part of getting a private pilot certificate. Second of all, the student has to be 16 years old to solo fly, and that's a requirement as getting your private pilot's license. And third, a student pilot has to be 17 years old for the FAA to grant a private pilot's license. So for all those age reasons, we're making it 15 years old to participate in this program. The next question that comes up is how long does it take to get a private pilot's license or certificate? And we typically say 6 to 8 months if the student is committed to actually working hard on getting that license. And what does that mean? Flying 2 to 3 times a week typically, as well as doing ground school and independent study. It is not an easy endeavor. It takes a significant amount of commitment, both time and financially, to get that certificate. But again, the students that we see that are committed to the effort typically take 6 to 8 months to get their license. Next question comes up is, do I need some type of student pilot license to even do any flight training? And the simple answer is yes. You need a student pilot certificate, and flight instructors work with the students to apply for that student pilot certificate. It's very easy to do. They go to FAA's IACRA website, fill out an application. The certified flight instructor reviews the application along with the student's legal documentation, i.e. a USA passport that's current, or a valid and current driver's license and a original birth certificate. Those are the basically types of documents that we look for are required by the FAA to make sure that student is legitimate and legal to take flight instruction in the United States. And once we have that documentation and application signed, usually within about a week, the TSA comes back and will grant a temporary student pilot certificate, and then a real final credit card type certificate will come in the mail 6 to 8 weeks later. The other question that comes up is, do I need, as a student pilot, need some type of medical? And the short answer is, again, yes. You need at least a Class 3 medical to hold a private pilot's license. And if there are any intentions to go on to a commercial pilot or an airline pilot, we highly recommend that the student get their Class 1 medical when they go in for their physical. And we can provide local contact information for an aviation medical examiner to conduct the medical. Again, we highly recommend a student get that medical as soon as possible, preferably before they even start flight training or shortly thereafter, just so they're not wasting any money or time toward flight training and with a medical condition that would exclude them from even obtaining a pilot's license. In regards to the private pilot ground school course at Laconia Flight Academy, we currently offer a in-person, or we actually call it a hybrid private pilot ground school course. It's hybrid in the sense that it's both in-person and live via Microsoft Teams, and we record those classes so anybody that misses a class can watch the recordings afterwards to catch up. And that is a 10-week course. And upon the successful completion of that, we will endorse the student to take their written FAA private pilot knowledge test. And again, with the completion and successful passing of that written knowledge test, which does require at least a 70% score, we issue the half credit toward the student toward their high school graduation. So if there are any additional questions, feel free to contact Laconia Flight Academy, where we can provide more answers to you on any questions you may have. And finally, I just wanted to say congratulations to the New Hampshire Department of Education for approving this Learn Everywhere program. The aviation world is growing and expected to grow for decades to come, with many excellent job opportunities, and not just as being a pilot, but also for flight attendants, mechanics, air traffic controllers, dispatchers, and many more other positions within the aviation world. So the New Hampshire Department of Education authorizing and approving this program is a huge benefit for our youth in the state of New Hampshire, and they should be commended for approving this program. Anyways, if you have any additional questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and we'll try to respond to them accordingly.